Picture this. You're walking past a roaring campfire on a freezing cold night, or you just stroll past a kitchen oven that's been baking for hours. You can actually feel that intense heat on your skin from several feet away. But how? Convection carries hot air straight up, not sideways towards you. And conduction? Way too slow through the air to reach you that fast. So how exactly is that thermal energy leaping across the room and hitting your body?
Seriously? How can you tell an oven is hot without even touching the door? The secret is that empty space is actually transmitting heat through invisible electromagnetic waves. It requires absolutely no medium to travel, no air, no water, no metal, nothing. The hot body of the oven is just emitting these waves directly across the room, and your skin is absorbing them. So, by the end of this explainer, you're going to completely master the concept of thermal radiation. We'll break down the exact mathematical formula behind it and show you how to apply it to real-life heat calculations. Honestly, you will never look at a campfire, the climate, or even your own body heat the same way again. Let's dive right in. All right, let's start with the formal definition so we're all on the same page. Radiation is energy transferred by electromagnetic waves directly as a result of a temperature difference. Now, we know electromagnetic waves come in all sorts of forms, right? Radio waves, microwaves, X-rays. But the energy they carry depends heavily on their wavelength. Here's the rule of thumb. A smaller wavelength means a higher frequency, and, crucially, higher energy. Let's look at how this relationship between temperature and wavelength actually plays out in real life. Because more heat is radiated at higher temperatures, a temperature shift causes a literal, visible color change. Think about the heating element on an electric stove. As it gets hot, it starts glowing this deep red or orange, right? But if you look at liquid steel inside a massive blast furnace, which is at a way higher temperature, it glows a blinding yellow or white. So the hotter the object, the higher the energy, and the more that spectrum shifts closer to the visible and ultraviolet range. Now, you might be wondering, if everything emits radiation based on its temperature, why don't we glow in the dark? Well, actually, we do, just not in the visible spectrum. The radiation we emit is mostly infrared, which our naked eyes just can't pick up. So that raises a really cool question. Why can military night scopes detect human beings in pitch black darkness? It all comes down to a physical property called emissivity. Emissivity is basically a measure of exactly how well an object radiates and absorbs energy. And it turns out human skin is an absolutely incredible absorber and emitter of infrared radiation. In fact, in the infrared spectrum, our skin has an emissivity of 0.97 out of a maximum possible score of 1. It doesn't matter what your visible skin tone is, in the infrared world, we are all practically jet black. We shine like bright beacons on those night scopes. And that brings us to a fundamental rule of radiation. Color matters immensely. An ideal absorber captures all radiation, which also makes it an ideal radiator. Black is the absolute best at this. Think of a dark asphalt parking lot on a clear summer day. It absorbs the sun's radiation and gets scorching hot, way hotter than the lighter gray sidewalk right next to it. On the flip side, white is a really poor absorber and radiator. It reflects radiation back, almost like a mirror. That's exactly why people living in super hot climates traditionally wear lighter clothing to stay cool. Okay, so conceptually, we know that temperature and color dictate how objects interact with radiation. But let's shift gears and look at the math. What formula dictates exactly how fast a hot object loses its heat? To figure that out, we use the Stefan-Boltzmann law of radiation. Let's build this step by step like we're at a chalkboard. The rate of heat transfer, which we call Q over T, depends on 4 distinct variables working together. First, we have the Stefan-Boltzmann constant, represented by the Greek letter sigma. Second is the emissivity of the object, E, which we just talked about. Third is the surface area of the object, A. And fourth is the absolute temperature in Kelvin, T, raised to the 4th power. Now wait, this is absolutely crucial. Look at that last variable again. Temperature to the 4th power. That is a massive dependency. If you double the absolute temperature of an object, it doesn't just radiate twice as much heat. It radiates 2 to the 4th power. That's 16 times as much heat. Even tiny variations in temperature cause massive exponential changes in the amount of energy radiated. Let's also look at that third variable, the surface area. What happens to the heat if you take a poker and knock apart the glowing coals of a campfire? Suddenly, there's this really noticeable, immediate spike in the heat hitting your face. The coals themselves aren't magically hotter, but by breaking them apart, you dramatically increase the exposed radiating surface area. And more area equals a faster rate of heat transfer straight to you.
Of course, in reality, no object is just sitting alone in a vacuum. Everything emits and absorbs radiation simultaneously from its surroundings. It's like a constant thermal tug of war. The net rate of heat transfer depends on the balance between the object and its environment. So our updated formula for net transfer becomes Q net over T equals sigma times E times A times the quantity of T2 to the fourth power minus T1 to the fourth power. T1 is the object's temperature, and T2 is the environment. If the environment is hotter, net heat flows in. If the object is hotter, net heat flows out.
Let's make this super concrete with a real-world example. Imagine you're just standing in a standard 22 degrees Celsius room, which is about 295 Kelvin. Your skin temperature is roughly 306 Kelvin. Your surface area is about 1.5 square meters, and as we know, your skin's emissivity is 0.97. If we plug these exact values into our net heat transfer formula, we get an answer of negative 99 watts. That minus sign? It means your body is actively losing 99 joules of energy every single second to the surrounding room, purely through radiation. With that kind of heat loss, it makes total sense why you'd feel noticeably cold standing around, and why you should probably grab a sweater.
All right, let's scale this up. From a single human in a room to a massive planet-scale problem. Outer space is unbelievably cold, about 3 Kelvin, or minus 454 degrees Fahrenheit. So if the Earth is constantly radiating its heat out into this freezing dark void, why hasn't the entire planet frozen completely solid? The answer lies right above us in our atmosphere, specifically the greenhouse effect. It all comes down to how different wavelengths of light interact with the gases around our planet. First, incoming solar radiation, which is mostly visible light, easily passes right through. The Earth absorbs this energy, warms up, and re-emits it. But because the Earth is obviously much cooler than the sun, it re-emits this energy as much longer wavelength infrared radiation. Trace gases in our atmosphere, like carbon dioxide and water vapor, absorb these longer wavelengths beautifully and re-radiate them back to the surface. This continuous trapping is what maintains Earth's surface temperature about 40 degrees Celsius higher than it would be without an atmosphere. We actually feel this radiation balance playing out in our daily weather. Think about a clear summer night versus a cloudy one. On a totally clear night, heat from the ground radiates rapidly out into dark space, causing quick cooling and sometimes even sudden frost. But clouds, they have a lower emissivity. They actually reflect infrared radiation back down to the surface, greatly reducing the net heat transfer into space. That is exactly why a cloudy night feels noticeably warmer and much more humid than a crystal clear one. Let's do a quick wrap-up and see how all of these pieces fit together. First, thermal radiation requires absolutely no medium. It travels freely via invisible electromagnetic waves. Second, the rate of emission is heavily governed by temperature, to the fourth power, which is a massive dependency. Third, an object's emissivity dictates how effectively it absorbs and emits. Remember, black is the best, white is the worst. And finally, net heat transfer is always a constant balancing act between an object and the temperature of its surrounding environment. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a really fascinating take-home experiment. What do you think happens to a thermometer left out in the blazing sun if you cover it in shiny aluminum foil versus wrapping it in a wet handkerchief soaked in nail polish remover? How would reflection, radiation, and evaporation all fight it out in that scenario? Give it a try, think about the physics of energy transfer we just covered, and it will perfectly set you up for our next explainer. Keep wondering?